Survivor News.
Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News.
Survivor News. Survivor News.
Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News.
What is going on? Welcome back to your Survivor News, covering Survivor Season 49, Episode 9. I'm back, not in the 6 or the 8, but the 215, that is Philadelphia, and I'm joined by one of my main mans. You might know him from The Floor is Lava. He might be calling your phone to be the next Extracted. Welcome back to the podcast, Jackery Atkins. What's popping with you?
What's up, man? Very excited to talk about this episode. We got a great guest joining us. I had the pleasure of watching this episode last night with this guest and with some other friends, but I feel like we kept our thoughts to ourselves. So I'm very excited to hear you and their thoughts tonight on this episode.
Yeah, I try to keep it respectful, but I can't help but to be a little disrespectful because when it comes to this guest, the britches stay a little wet. Welcome back to the podcast, Austin from season 45.
Yes.
My man. How are you?
Oh my gosh, it has been far too long. As Jack said, we watched the episode a little bit together last night, had a little pregame. So we're ready to come firing together. I'm sure we'll have different takes, but it was a good time. Always fun hanging out with Jack. You should come visit us sometimes. We could bring the whole pod in person over here in LA.
I would love it. See, the problem is, Austin, I'm glad that you said that you watched it with Jack, because Jack loves to get on this podcast and be so mysterious about, I was watching it with my next door neighbors, and he never likes to say who he was watching it with.
Really?
So, he never says it.
I've announced the squad.
Never.
Before. I've definitely
watched it together 50% of the times.
Yeah, it's usually, I feel like I'm either on camera or off camera, but it's usually me, Austin, Brando, J. Maya, who was absent last night, Zach Wurtenberger. And then
he'll never give us this.
That's crazy. What's up, Austin?
Hey, what's up? Long time no see.
Long time no see, bro.
Actually, I almost wore the home makeover shirt, but it was a little cold in here, so I had to put on a jacket.
Was that the last time I saw you?
I don't know. Maybe, man. Like a whole, year and a half ago?
Jeez.
A year ago. Yeah.
It might have been a year and a half ago that we saw Austin, but it was less than a month ago. We saw Mama Li Coon in the building in San Diego.
True indeed.
For San Francisco, right?
Oh, San Francisco. Yes.
Wait, sorry. My Alexa somehow got triggered. So did I miss what you said? No, Alexa, I'm not talking to you. Stop.
You're talking to me. Back. I said it might have been a year ago, Austin, that you've seen Wendell, but but it was less than a month and a half ago. We got to see my forever mother-in-law, Miss Eva, in San Francisco.
Listen, and she hasn't stopped talking about it ever since then. That was her favorite day of the entire year. She loved it. It was
Austin,
so fun.
So
you always figure yourself.
She's like, she just comes, she wears your shirt, and she's just so friendly and
She has more fun with this whole thing than anyone I've ever met. I mean, she has done everything you could possibly do. She goes to whatever event she can go. She's always wearing that shirt just so that she could because otherwise some people might not recognize her. So then she's like,
who wouldn't recognize her?
Austin's mom. And then she gets let into, all these different after parties and whatever and hangs out with everybody. And you know what? People are more excited to see her, though, than they are to see me. When we both show up to an event, they go to her. She's taking all pictures of everybody. And then when they're done talking to her, then they'll come to me and talk to me. But, it's all good.
Your mom was going to have a good time when she said, Brice, there's Jake. Take my photo. So I got her camera. I'm getting ready to take the photo. Your mom took her shoe off with Jake. I said, okay, Miss Eva.
She's living her best life. She really is.
As she should. And we're excited to be here to talk Survivor season 49. Before we get into all of that, I'm back from Denver, our Bryson Wynn 49 stop. We had to stop in Denver. Austin, cover your ears for a second.
Oh, shit. Okay. All right.
My other man, Ozzy, was in New York City holding it down for us, and they had one heck of a turnout. There was a lot of survivors in the building. Squid Games 99 to beat, but also just shout out to the Denver crew. I have to relay a message. The Jack Shack said the Jack Shack is still strong. They were wondering where Wendeezy was, but the baby boy, myself, held it down. So shout out to the Denver listeners. We appreciate you. And with Denver and New York concluded, we are on the last leg of the Bryson Wynn Tour 49. We've got 5 more stops left, and we're super excited. Next week, we will be in our home city of Philadelphia, not for one night, but for 2 nights. November 25th, we're doing a Survivor night with the Philadelphia 76ers. Tyrese Maxey has been texting my phone nonstop. He can't wait to see me. So I'm excited. Then we'll be in Philadelphia again the next day for the day before Thanksgiving, which is going to be an epic time at the French Bar. And that's not over yet. We'll be in Baltimore December 3rd, and Baltimore is showing out. Ozzy will be in Boston December 10th, and just recently announced, hold on to your britchers, the finale will be in New York City December 17th, and our good girlfriend Tiffany and Ozzy are holding it down on the West Coast for us. So tickets are available. The season 49 is ending, but Bryson Wynn 49 is ending with a bang, so we hope to see everyone there.
Man, y'all have really stepped up the poster art. Those look fresh. Those are real cool.
Thank you. Shout out to our good friend Tricky. He's our graphic designer. He's very talented. We're very lucky to have him.
Yes, we are super excited. Now let's get into this episode. Now, Austin, I haven't seen you or talked to you in a while. What should give us? I mean, we know you see Jack, even though Jack don't like to say he see you. Jack say he watched with his friends.
Yeah, to be fair, that was the first time in a while that we all got together. So,
Austin, is that true?
Maybe 3 weeks or something, which is a while for us.
To watch probably like a month, I would say.
Wow. Yeah. I don't even remember, man. Too forgettable.
Movie?
Jack or the season?
No, it's been sad. It's been sad. It was good to get everyone together again. It's really felt like, we have this nice little community here that we all hang out with, watch the show. We actually listen and pay attention, but then we talk through each ad. It's like a perfect vibe, it's great. So hopefully we can keep it going. When the seasons aren't going, it sucks because we're just all lonely. We don't see each other as much.
It's true. That's how I feel with the podcast too. I don't see the baby boys. But Brice, guess we had a special guest last night at our watch party. And it wasn't Ozzy.
Okay.
It wasn't Ken McClintis. We had, the man himself, Jawan Pitts, in the building.
Oh, Jawan.
And honestly, after the fact, we had a great time watching. I thought it was a fun episode for him. And after the fact, I go online and I see Jawan and Sage are catching a lot of heat. And so just know. Now, am I a little bit biased? Absolutely. But this podcast, I'm going to come correct and set the record straight for my guy Jawan. So I just want to throw that out there.
Well, I'm a Jawan fan, but I might got some strays for him this episode because I was talking to Wendell earlier and I was like, I can't wait to talk to Jack because I gotta ask you so many questions about how this episode went down because Austin might have played Survivor, Wendell might have played Survivor. I was in the Philippines, but Jack knows it all about Survivor. But before we get into that, Austin, what's your thoughts on this season? What do you think about this? Oh, sorry, we have these new rules, Austin. So when
we raise our hands now. Okay.
See, they talk so much that I have to let it be known. We usually have these other nonverbal cues, but We had to take it back to second grade. Austin, you might have said this. I know I was a little tardy for the pod. This purple backdrop of yours, is this for Brice?
Duh.
Yeah, the Purple Pants podcast, of course.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay.
Okay.
I just noticed, you know.
Yeah,
Respect.
you know, I got these like the Govee lights or something, so I can control it on my phone. I can change the color. I picked purple specifically, so you know, had to give it to y'all.
You might have to give Wendell some help with his setup.
Wendell got jack internet today.
A little bit.
Now, Austin, what you think about this season thus far? We haven't talked to you all season.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely picking up right now. Obviously, the first half, there were some slower episodes. You had some really cool moments. I mean, like the whole, you know, when my mom came for the Brice and Wen event, that was the whole Jake boot. That was a crazy episode. But now it's starting to pick up, and it's like there's so many things that could happen. And I think every episode I go in being like, this is the one where this person goes. It's not, or like, you know, I feel like it's much more open now where I have no idea how we're going to get to the end. So I'm excited. The trailer for like next week's episode looks pretty intense. So I'm excited. I think we're getting into the real meat of the season. So
wait, your internet broke up, Austin. We getting into what?
the real juicy meat of the season.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. Sorry.
I will say though, you know, like Jack said, Jawan came and it was awesome watching with him. And maybe we'll talk about it a little bit later, but you know, he got his little backstory. I started sweating that we were witnessing his boot episode with him. And I didn't know how I was going to react to that if that were the case, but we're safe from that. Anyways, another time.
Yeah. Well, Jack, where are we going today? Take lift off.
Yeah, I guess I feel like lately we jump around a little bit more, but what better place to start with this one? I think right from up top, when they get back from this split tribal, we get a pretty interesting from a strategic and social standpoint, but also just kind of a funny moment where the group that did not go to tribal is like, oh, we thought it was going to be Sophie. Oh, you didn't flush Rizzo's idol? You out like, why is Sophie here? And Sophie's like, excuse me. Was that? It was kind of a wake-up call for her, and a little bit, and you could kind of sense the tension was palpable. You know, she asked a question, and everyone just kind of sat there like, and then Jawan was actually the one to speak up and be like, sorry about that, or whatever how you feel. But what did you guys think about this coming back to camp?
For me, it's not so much what was said, it was what was not said. It was literally like they saw a ghost. Sophie walked back in, and Christina, Alex, even I think Sophie B, they all were like, oh, like they didn't know what to say. And that was kind of crazy. And that's one of the moments of Survivor that I really like, where that's clearly horrible gameplay, which will lead me to believe that because so many of them had that face and didn't know what to say, that was a real moment. They didn't know how to react in that moment. And so I kind of always love to see those type of moments, because for everyone that's watching, yeah, you could say what you would have done Monday morning quarterbacking, but when you are dead sleep on the island and somebody who you thought was going to be voted out comes back and the Riz guy comes back with his idol, it definitely is one of those like WTF moments. What is going on?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think Kyle said it in 48 that Survivor is one in the margins. And I feel like that's one of those moves, those little tiny moves. You react to that better. You make Sophie feel like, oh, this person's actually upset that or not upset, happy that I'm back and, wasn't gunning for me or whatever. Just the little tiny moves that you can do like in those moments really go a long way, and they add up and add up and add up. Like someone could have gotten a whole new ally out of that, but instead she was like, oh, they hate me. I'm done.
True.
A big part of this episode, now mind you, y'all know I love everybody, but here on Survivor News, I got to keep it real, right? Where I feel like the majority and the minority are very interesting. And I almost feel like the response from the majority was very telling, right? Like it's almost as if like you're in the majority and like you're like, this isn't what's supposed to happen. And that allows the pendulum to kind of swing a little bit where in the moment it's like, pick your face up and be like, Sophie, welcome back. Where it almost is like when you get comfortable, because that's a comfortable move. That's like I'm having a housewarming party and I invite Wendell and Jack and Austin walk into my house and I'm like,
And Brice just wets his pants.
but I'm just like, hey, Austin. And Austin's like, hey, Brice.
I'm outta
And I'm
here.
like, "Hey, thank you for coming." Like, it's just, like you got to be a little more hospitable.
Yeah.
True. And especially, I mean, that's true. Like once the situation is the situation and MC's gone or Austin's at your house, there's no changing it. You can you could privately mourn that MC went home, but complaining about it, you're not going to improve your relationship with her. So, and also it was funny, like the whole storyline last episode going into tribal was like Rizzo was the target. Rizzo has an idol. Yet they get back to camp and it's sort of like, oh, Rizzo didn't play his idol, but like, why is Sophie here? And that was like the main thing. It's like, damn, you're more worried about Sophie being there than Rizzo staying with his idol. So I totally see why that altered Sophie's perspective on where she's at in the game.
I also like, though, random thought. Normally in Survivor, after you get a reward, you come back and it's daylight. I kind of like the fact that they were sleeping when they came back. I feel like you got a little bit more of this authentic reaction, which is why it was so jarring. And I'd love to see more of that. Keep them separate. Wake us up with the news, because I feel like, again, that was just so telling. And I thought it had a lot to do with them being just woken up and to the news of like, hey, what's up, MC? Soph? Sophie? Like, like they were literally like, are we seeing a ghost?
Yeah, I think that contributed. You're sleeping, When it gets dark out, you lay down and go to sleep on the island. When it gets dark out, they go to tribal. So they're coming back a few hours into your sleep or whatever it is, and you're startled and you see a ghost essentially. Bad gameplay. Like you got to tighten up. You got to know. You got to control your faces. You got to control your responses. Yeah.
So I mean, I like it.
Good call, bro. So yeah, I mean, now we got some dynamics shifting. Sophie's more of a free agent. The numbers are a little bit more even with only 9 left. And we get into a reward challenge, kind of just a straight up reward. First one we've had in a while. Schoolyard pick. I don't know if you guys saw, but they released an edited version of the schoolyard pick as like a secret scene. So that was kind of interesting. Sophie B does not get picked. Christina and Rizzo were captains. And something from the secret scene that I think stood out was Rizzo picked Jawan first because he was like, I know my man Jawan hasn't won a reward yet. And Rizzo was like, I'm feeling good today. I'm feeling like we got this. So I'm going to pick Jawan and like make sure that we can win a reward together so we can get one. Obviously, that group doesn't ultimately win, but then we see Christina giving up her spot for Jawan. Jawan's a little bit hesitant to take it, and sort of that storyline unfolds. So what stood out to you guys about whether it's the schoolyard pick or like Christina swapping with Jawan? Like, how did that play for all you guys?
You want to know what really stood out for me?
Yeah.
When Uncle Jace like, we got fried chicken. Why are you looking directly at Christina? Okay, why are you looking at the black people? Uncle Jace, fried chicken.
Did he? I don't
But we got some cornbread.
I thought it was a very endearing move of Christina to offer her reward to Jawan. I definitely thought it was the mothering instinct of her. And I also love a part of the 90 minutes. I think Jawan has talked about being this paternal provider for his younger siblings, and like we get to see him talking about this again, how he always has to be the provider, and it just was like a real humanizing moment where you're just so prideful that you don't want to let anyone in. And I thought it was like just so great when everyone was like, no, take it, like you deserve it, you've been opening up the coconuts, you've been doing everything that you can do for everyone out there. I thought it was a really great moment. In the back of my mind, I'm like, Christina, what are you doing? Right? Like, because I think those moments, oftentimes you mean well, but at the same time, if I'm out there, I'm like, you trying to gain votes for $1 million, or like, you know what I mean? You're playing towards the jury now at some point. So I thought about that a little bit, but I also thought it was a very genuine moment. What y'all think?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think if anyone but Christina did that move, it would have come across as sketchy. It would have backfired right away. I think Christina really gives off like motherly, trying to help someone who needed the help. It sounds like I listened to Alex's exit interview. He's like, oh yeah, that was totally like a nice thing. It wasn't strategic. So I think out there on the island, people already saw her in that way. So it worked. And then, with the secret scene where they're doing the schoolyard pick, Rizzo, makes the pick of Juwan first. And it's like, oh yeah, he hasn't eaten. I'm feeling good. I can bring him the win. I want this to happen. So it sounded like something that was going around. Like everyone was thinking of Juwan. So I think all that mixed together made it like not a horrible move for her. But I also was like, holy, like, what are you doing? Like,
Right.
Even if you want to give it, just, maybe save some food in like the back of your mouth and spit it out for him later, like, don't trade.
That normally would sound a little disgusting, Austin, but if you got some leftovers, save them for me, okay?
Yeah, it was interesting too. Like Christina's end, like the game of it all, but then for Juwan, we see him reacting, both kind of taking it into consideration from maybe a game standpoint, but then also like some combination of like his pride, but also his humility of being like, no, I don't want it. I want to earn it, which I thought was very commendable. And then it's also like once Christina's offered it, the game element of it has kind of already happened. Like even if you say no, people are still going to think, oh, maybe Christina, did this for whatever reason, whether or not you take it. So, and I like that once people really pushed for him to take it, and that's clearly everyone wants it, and it's genuine, to be like, okay, like I'll do it. I'll go have some. So I thought Juwan handled it very well. And yeah, I agree. I think it seemed very like sincere from Christina.
A man's pride can get in the way of things. And I agree. I think, for them to kind of as a unit say, nah, go ahead and do it. And he kind of like came around and he was like, okay, it was good to see.
Mm-hmm.
I also thought it was interesting when we oftentimes in the beginning, we see Juwan and he's taking people's water bottles. He's like, we hear all of these like, oh, I need to vote Juwan out. He's putting sticks in a book bag when there's a mountain of sticks right there. I thought it was interesting to hear these other people's perspective of Juwan, like what you're saying with Rizzo in that schoolyard pick, with Christina saying like, you need to eat. And even with Juwan showing that humility, I'm like, this... okay, Juwan, like clearly there's more of Juwan that we're not seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And say Juwan is at the end, right? Like I'm hearing these winner pitches of like, he's cracking open coconuts for everybody. He's being a provider for everyone. That's enough. Add it to your resume, put a bow on it. That could be $1 million Colonel recipe.
Is it?
I mean,
Not to say that Juwan doesn't have winner prospects. I just don't feel like, especially these days where the jury's so game focused, that people can be like, oh, well, you were cracking open coconuts for me. So obviously that helps your social game.
Is that not in the game though?
It helps well, you know what I mean? Like game as in like the strategy of it. Obviously that helps your social game to some extent, but I don't think that's going to be like the tipping point of like, Juwan, you opened a coconut for me. Maybe if it was Andy and Andy got some love for cracking a coconut, it would be different. But that's not to say I don't think Juwan has a shot, but I think it's going to become more from his game than people just being like, you were a provider. Because I feel like nowadays that people don't. It helps your social game, and maybe that puts you in good social standing, which helps. But I think like the actual providing element of it, maybe not as much of a factor. But I don't know. I've never been on the jury, so who
Neither
knows?
have I.
Brice hasn't
No, but I'm
either.
saying just adding that to his resume of the things that he's already doing could boost
It'd
up
be
a
a boost,
vote or
sure.
two.
Sure. Well, a vote or two is, who knows?
Eh,
I'm telling you now, you crack open a coconut for me, you got my vote.
I will say though, it's what, day 16 now at this point. Juwan hasn't had a single reward. I can't imagine how hungry he is, and he still has, the mind to be like, I don't know if taking this is the best move. Like, I'm willing to maybe try earning it for myself. I mean, 16 I remember day 10 out there. I was so freaking hungry, like literally close my eyes and like pizzas would be flying through the sky and hamburgers, and like I could only, like, it was food. I'd be strategizing, thinking about food. I can't imagine going 16 days without like a real meal. You're literally eating worms off the ground, like, maybe finding a tiny crab here and there. So, honestly, props to him for holding out and being willing to like wait another couple days potentially. Because that's tough. That is tough.
I told him too at that challenge. I was like, Jawan, you're looking kind of cut this
okay.
challenge. And so
Okay.
maybe Jawan was like, I'm good. I'm on a diet, I'm finally, my abs are coming through. I don't even want the food.
Jack, you ain't never lied. I saw the cut. I said, I had to squint my eyes. I said, is that a Zaddy calendar contender? Because Jawan was definitely looking all right.
I have a question. Jack and Austin. Did Juwan have a cut sleeve shirt on?
No, I think he had like a kind of a little jacket on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's hard
But I
to
see
assess.
that-
He wanted to hide how well he did. He didn't want to give anything away.
Got it.
Yeah, he was good. Someone was like, Jawan, how much did you lose? He's like, I don't know. Can't say. So, but yeah. And then so they go on the fees. Sophie B, gets to put her bet on who's gonna win. She picks the wrong team. Now I will say I do think that obviously sucks not to get picked. I like being in the position of getting to choose which team though, because even if you're wrong, you're going back to camp with the majority. So if things start to happen, not that they always will when it's like a 5-4 split, but I feel like it's just better to be with more people, whether you're out the reward or you're not. So there's that. But they get the reward, and back at camp, you have like Christina is starting to sort of spearhead potentially a split on like Savannah and Rizzo, who still are clear targets. I will say very quickly, they're talking about we're going to put, so in this world, in my mind, it's 6 of them. And then you have Savannah, Rizzo, and Sophie B. And then as soon as they're talking about we'll put 4 votes on this person, and then I was like, this plan's cooked. Because if they don't know Sophie B's in with that crew and they think they have her vote, and they're going to put 4 votes on someone and 3 votes on another, and Sophie's not with them, that's going to be 4 votes on someone and 2 votes on another against 3. That's not an effective split. So I feel like for me, those were the first signs. I was like, this plan is not going to work.
This is where I started getting frustrated with my Survivor players that I love, because Survivor is a number game, right? And if I were to make it this long, I feel as though I would be very perceptive. And so if I am Christina, if I am Alex, and if we believe we're working with Sophie B and Jawan, do we not know how close Sophie B, Savannah, Rizzo are, right? Like, and that is really the question that I'm dying to ask you, Austin and Jack, is that when you're out there playing Survivor or in your mind, how or on a call, or however you play, Jack. I guess it's like, how do you go about pitching these ideas? Because I am with you, Jack. Like, I kind of feel like they was willy-nilly in it, right? Like, you're giving these solid plans. You first of all, you don't say Savannah's name 3 times, okay? Like she gonna come back and get you. So to even say Savannah's name, to say Rizzo's name to a Sophie B, like I just feel like that's risky in itself. And so it's like, how should one, or what's your thoughts on like navigating this? Because I felt like ultimately how this tribal ended up today was like a negligence on like the information that was just flowing freely to like double agents that are double agents.
Yeah, I mean, with 9 people and 3 of them are the underdogs or whatever, they're on the bottom, they have these advantages. Doing a split at this point, I think, is so difficult and so scary. I honestly don't blame them at all for dogpiling on someone else, because in order to effectively do a split at 9, you got to do like a 3-3-3 split, meaning you need to like really have trust in 6 people or 5 other people. And when this season has had so many swaps and switches and changes, I don't think people have been able to build enough trust with each other to like effectively do a 3-3-3 split. So if I were on the beach, I would probably, instead of doing a split, be like, okay, no, we're just going to make sure we get who we want out, and then do whatever we can to convince Rizzo to play his idol, or, like get him to flush it, but not split it on him, because like that just adds too many variables that are really hard to keep track of at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like a lot of credit is due for Sophie B in the way that she's been able to, I guess, unlike Alex in this instance, Sophie B really is playing the middle and people aren't really on to her, because they're running these numbers and thinking about a vote split that would include Sophie B. And it's like for Hina, the yellow tribe, like Christina running these numbers, the only history you've really seen of Sophie B is that she came from a group with the entire original red tribe and was in with them. And then at the merge, she votes with Nate and Rizzo and Savannah. So it's like, and then she didn't go to the last tribal. So to me, it's like, why are you just counting her in as a number right now? And that's all credit to Sophie for like getting them to think that she's in. But like Austin was saying, this is a big group. If you're trying to execute like a 4-3-2 or a 3-3-3, you got to be a little bit like tighter with your information. And you can't have all these people that to me are like variables, like a Sophie B or even like an Alex at this point, where people seem to know that he's kind of playing the middle. In this day and age of Survivor, 2 days after Jeff is like, we got a spot on 50, you better believe someone's gonna flip from that 3-3-3 and make it a 4-3-2 and take out someone from the majority. So with that being said, obviously wanting to flush the idol, like that's a plan that is viable in some senses, but they definitely think about it the wrong way, Brice.
Yeah. I feel like it's this perception of when you're in the majority, when you're playing from the majority and when you're playing from the minority. And I feel like Rizzo, Savannah, and Sophie B they're doing a great job of saying they're playing from the minority, right? But in reality, y'all are the majority, because y'all wingspans with the extra vote, with the knowledge is power, with the idol, right? That spans a really long way. And there's something to like when you're playing with your back up against the wall. And I feel like they're allowing the majority to feel like they're in the majority. But I feel like in the new era, playing from the majority is a disadvantage. Playing from the minority has a huge advantage.
I think they're just super dangerous. So it's like you have this majority that's comfortable, then you have this minority that is armored up, has all this artillery, and they're watching these people feeling themselves and acting how they want to act, and they're just like, yo, we're strapped. So, and you got Sophie B, who is battle tested. She's gone to all the tribals. So it's like, you know what? Y'all can act how you want, and we're going to strike when we need to. And that's what we saw.
Yeah. And Brice, this actually goes back to something you said, I think, a few episodes ago about like the advantage of playing from the minority. which I don't think I fully grasp, but I think that take ages well right now, where you look at like Rizzo and a Savannah, and then obviously Sophie B's with them, but maybe people don't necessarily know she's with them. But to me, I think one of the biggest advantages is like, in the sense that it is fewer numbers, it's just easier to know where the numbers are at. It's like, okay, I know we got 3 and all we need is 1. We could just go work on pulling one person in, which in the new era especially happens all the time. Whereas if you're in a 6, you got the numbers, but then now you're getting a little tricky. You're trying to split the vote. You're doing this. It's like, now I got to know what 5 other people are doing. And if I'm worried that anyone's going to flip, then like maybe I'm going to be the one that's going to flip. And it's just hard to like maintain all of that. And so that confidence, I think, Savannah and Rizzo really portray the confidence both in sort of the artillery that they have, but also they're small but mighty numbers.
Yeah.
And then I think for everybody else in the majority, then it's like, that's actually a really hard minority to target. So maybe I'll like just go vote with them. So you start as the minority, but if you kind of exude confidence like Rizzo especially is doing, maybe it makes it really easy to be like, oh, if all 6 of you are worried about each other, 2 of you can just join us and we're good. And we're that majority. And that's happened like 2 times in a row.
And the 3 of these players are really good Survivor players. Let's also mention that.
100%.
Like,
yeah.
These 3 players are really good Survivor players, and they have everything. And you got Savannah, who's a challenge beast. So it's like, it's a small number, but they are postured to snipe people.
And it reminds me a little bit of like last season, where the people who were like last season kind of got ran by the majority, like Kyle and Joe and Eva. But to me, that's because the minority they weren't a unified minority. Right. They were all scrambled up. You had like Star and Mitch and Mary, and they weren't really like working together. So they were just loose numbers that people could take out. But if they unified and put up like, to me, if I'm going to be the one to flip, like in Camilla's situation last season, it's like, I got to know these people are like down to do it, or otherwise it's just, I just blow my opportunity. So by being a unified minority, I think that's a really appealing thing for someone who wants to make a move. It's like, I know they're all going to be together. I can just be the one to join them. I don't have to like flip and then rally all these people to unify. It makes it a lot harder.
Yeah. And only the idol is known, right?
Yes.
Which, I mean, if I were in the majority and I see a minority with only 1 idol between the 3 of them, they don't seem that strong. And it'd be like, oh yeah, we can take them out later if we need to, you know, like might as well start hitting the people at the top of this majority instead.
And I think that's what they're thinking. I think that's partially why I think maybe Jawan and Sage are getting too much flack, is like, they don't know all these things that they have. So obviously as a viewer, we know they're much more dangerous than they were probably perceived to be on the island. Not to say that they should let Rizzo necessarily cruise by with his idol. I think we can get more into that later, but obviously as a viewer, we have the advantage of knowing about their advantages, and you know, they can't make decisions based on stuff they don't know about. Brice, I think you're muted.
Sorry. What's that thing where like, say your arm got cut off, but you still have like phantom feelings that you have? Is that like a phantom? You know what I'm talking about?
It's like phantom, your phantom limb or something like that.
Phantom limb, right? I really think what's the minority, I feel like, is it Tom Cruise, the Minority Report? Okay.
Yes.
All right. But because I want to call them the Minority Report, Sophie, Rizzo, and Savannah, right? I think what they really are doing well at is, because I'm not a numbers person like that, but everyone keeps saying Sage and Dewan, they're running it. First of all, it's just Sage and Dewan. How is they running it? Okay, when there are so many other factions with bigger numbers. And I think what the Minority Report is doing is, by saying Austin and Jack are running it, right? Like, it creates this phantom army that doesn't really exist, right? Like, I feel like Sage and Jawan, from what we have seen thus far, they're very fluid, right? They're like, whatever. I feel like they are like Nepo babies, where like they didn't really go to school. They flunked out of high school and they dad died, and now they running the company, right? And they're like, you know what? You only got to work 6 days a week. will get 37 holidays. Everybody gets a bonus, right? Where people are like, yay. But on the back office side, they crunching the numbers. Like, we're bleeding out of the socket. And so, yes, they are the figureheads. But you have these people that are hyping them up like, oh, they're running the company. But in reality, they're able to infiltrate them. And I think that is what Rizzo and Savannah and Sophie B are doing a really good job at. And don't get me wrong, Christina and Alex, they are trying to do the same thing, but I almost see it as like they go into Jawan and Sophie like, we love only working 1 day a week. Like, you know, as if like they are with them. But in reality, I just feel like the other side is kind of allowing them to have power, but they're like controlling them.
Yeah. No, that's a great analogy. I definitely think that trio of like Savannah, Rizzo, and Sophie B, definitely, I think so far outplaying their counterpart on the other side, which would be like a Christina and Steven and Alex, like at least from what we've seen. Now, to be fair, like again, with Jawan and Sage getting so much flack, I do feel like at some point, if they just kept going with that Hina trio, the same sentiment's going to be true of like, oh, you're just going with them. Like, so I don't mind them kind of balancing and playing the middle a little bit, but obviously with Rizzo having his idol and then the other ammunition that trio has, it could be a little bit dicey, especially with Sophie potentially being a number for them, because now they're going to be down to 8. And Sage and Jawan might not have the options anymore. They might be stuck on the bottom with Steven and Christina and not have a number to flip. The other group has an extra vote, an idol. Now you're in a little bit of trouble. So I don't really think, to me, ultimately, kind of to the discourse online and all that, I don't think their issue was so much like leaving Rizzo. Like, I think given their perception of what we know, the way they looked at the game and the numbers, them leaving Rizzo and Savannah as numbers, not terrible. But then I think the flaw is them not realizing that Sophie's kind of in with them, that both Sophies are kind of in with them. And now that there's things going on behind the scenes that they weren't aware of, when they could have maybe used Christina and Alex and Steven a little bit more to their advantage.
And where I do want to give Sage and Jawan a little slack or be tough on them is that you don't know the other Sophie is with them. Sophie came back and was like, hey, y'all. And everybody was like, oh, we thought you died. Right? Like how, what else is Sophie? Where else is Sophie going to go?
Yeah. That's the problem. I think is the overall perception of where all the alliances are, which is a big issue, but you can only really deal with what you do see. So it's hard to judge on that front.
I thought Rizzo, I don't know who he was talking to, but he was saying something to someone like, I don't know how I convinced everybody to vote with me last week. Like, that was crazy. Was I the only one thinking like, now, about you, y'all know I love Riz, and definitely we are seeing the Riz God. Riz has gone to sleep, and the Riz God is here. But in my mind, I'm like, how did everybody vote for you? Your number one came zooming in on a boat and they didn't know what she had. And that kind of changed the tide a little bit. Would y'all not agree?
Yeah, it cracks me up how much Rizzo hypes himself up in confessionals. It's so funny. I'm pretty sure he had one early in the episode. It was like, I put on an absolute cinematic masterpiece last night. And they're just like hyping himself up like, oh, I did so great at moving everyone's votes. And
I will say though, looking back at last week, Rizzo had some motion before Savannah pulled up. Like, things were falling apart on the other side of things before Savannah got there, and they started to turn on each other. It looked like Riz was cool before Savannah came.
But let's just be clear. That was Riz. Okay, that wasn't Riz God.
I think that was Riz God emerging from his slumber, and that's when he started going to work. And then Riz God emerges. Savannah pulls up because she knows that the Riz God has arrived, and she's like, "Let me make sure Riz God is good." Riz God is good all the time.
And all the time.
I think that's a
Jack,
Shannon
Jack,
quote.
have you
but-
ever been, Jack, have you ever been to a black church?
No,
Okay.
I
Have you-
barely go to a church, but
Have you ever been to a black church, Austin?
Nope, I'm in the same boat as Jack.
we don't really catch the invites, you know.
Do you know what it means when they say somebody caught the Holy Ghost?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm not gonna guess.
It's like isn't it? They're like kind of like infected with like religious fervor. Like they're like, oh,
Okay,
they're
Jack.
like he's too excited. He's fired up. He got the Holy Ghost in him. Is that
Okay.
right?
Yes,
Amen.
yes.
Wow.
Okay,
Hallelujah.
Jack.
Come on. Yeah, I might not know songs, but I know Black Church, man.
Okay, last question in a black church, Austin and Jack. How many times do we pass the offering plate around? A, once. B, twice. 3, at the discretion of the Lord.
D until it fills up.
Jack, praise the Lord, Jack. Okay, Jack.
I think I like Black Church more than the church I went to growing up because I didn't like that very much. But
let me also just ask you, how long was your church? 45 minutes?
probably an hour.
Austin?
You know what? I would guess an hour if I went to a church.
This what y'all probably not gonna like. Black churches be like 8.5 hours.
Holy.
2.5 to
Ow.
3 to 4. They get to going.
And that's first service.
How often? That's not once a week, right?
I mean, sometimes it's a second service. Sometimes it might be Wednesday night prayer. You know, I had to go to praise dance rehearsal on Thursdays. So
Bible study.
Oh. Well, I mean, great. That's awesome.
okay, but and Riz we trust.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know where were we, but so, and you know, also again, I've harped on this, and I feel like now maybe this point is starting to fade out, and this might be getting a little ahead in the episode, but as these ramblings of a split on like Rizzo and Savannah are emerging, you know, outside of what we see in the episode, I'm also like, we know Rizzo's ass isn't going home tonight. Like with him on 50, I was like, he's not going anywhere. We need the full Riz God takeover. And that's, I wish I didn't know. I say this every episode, but I'm like, I wish we didn't know because if it's like, oh, the vote's going to be Rizzo or Alex, I'm like, I wonder who it's going to be.
Yeah, that's the toughest thing with Brice, when you asked me how I felt about this season, that's been the toughest thing. It's like they're episodes where I feel like if I knew nothing, they would be so hyped. But it's just like going in the second half of the episode being like, well, okay, only one of these paths could actually work out because they're targeting, the two people who are going to be on 50. So
I will say now that we're approaching the final 8, now it's like maybe things could. Now it's not. I feel like it's not so sure. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
On 50, from what we know, the lowest placing finish that anybody had their first go around was 8th place. And so now we're at the final 8. So it's like, oh, this is a little bit more of that territory where Rizzo or Savannah could be like a 7th or 8th. And still, I feel like from what they've shown beyond 50. But anyway, should we get into the immunity challenge?
We can.
Let's do it.
One of y'all hit me with some thoughts on it.
Well, okay. I want to. So Steven, I feel like this episode, we haven't talked about him very much, but I feel like he had 2 really funny, entertaining moments. One we didn't even bring up yet, but his like chicken nightmare that he would have, which, made me really start thinking. Cause like personally, I would hate having chickens as a reward, just having to deal with it. They're annoying, like having to have them like cluck around all day and night. And then I was thinking, like, you know what? It's like day 16. People are starving. The chickens are still alive. You know, the people are getting voted out every day, every other day. Like, why aren't you eating these chickens? But also then I thought about it more, and it's like, I feel like with this cast especially, like killing the chickens really upsets some of the people. So I'm wondering if they're like keeping them alive because they're worried killing it would put a target on their back from certain people. I don't know. I mean, like, would y'all kill the chickens, leave them there? Like, I'm just shocked that there's still 2 chickens.
I'm choking the chicken. No, but let's also be clear, Austin. The chickens is free. They're just roaming. I don't think they even have control of the chickens anymore.
It sounds like they're hanging by camp, like just walking around, like they became friends.
I'm with you, Austin, though, because I mean we haven't seen any eggs.
Right.
So,
No, I think they said they haven't gotten any eggs.
Yeah. Well, they saw their friends get killed, and they're like, "I'm not producing any eggs anymore."
Really, if I were that chicken, I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, I need to shoot out eggs
well,
right now."
So, but I wonder, maybe the chickens got stressed and traumatized, and they stopped producing. I'm with you, Austin. I'm like, for me, I was like, if I'm hungry, there's 2 chickens roaming around.
You know, 90% of chickens, they live like their stress level is, if it's like a scale of 1 to 10, 90% of chicken stress level is always at like a 9 because they're always in this anxiety state that death is imminent.
Wow.
So
well, and then I'm sure these ones are part of the 90% because they saw their homies get chopped. Yeah.
I will say though, like it's not only upsetting for some of the cast members, but I know a lot of viewers hate watching the chickens get killed. I don't care, but my aunt texted me the episode where the first like chicken got killed, and she was just like, "Oh my gosh, I'm never watching this show ever again. Like I'm so glad that they didn't make you do something like that, or I could never talk to you again." It's like, we're starving. We eat meat, but it is really upsetting for people. But I mean,
so what do you say to people that's like, where do you think that fried chicken Uncle Jay is serving you at? That Popeye spicy chicken? Like, what do you say to those people that love Chick-fil-A?
That's the question. Let me know so I can tell my aunt so she'll talk to me again.
I mean, yes. I was just gonna say, like, yeah, I enjoy chicken, but no, I want to go slaughter a chicken. That's gross to me.
I'm with you. I mean, it is.
Do you eat chicken though?
But I'm not saying you gotta be the one to slaughter it or whatever. Like, I wouldn't love to do that either. But like to Austin's point, if you're watching at home eating some McDonald's nuggets, well, those might not actually be chicken.
That ain't chicken. That ain't chicken.
You eat some Chick-fil-A, and you're like, "Oh my God, what's wrong with these people? They're killing the chicken." I'm with you. It's like, where do you think the chicken you're eating? Now, if you're like a vegan and you don't eat any chicken, I can totally understand being like, "Oh, I don't want to watch that." But you know, if you're eating chicken, it might not be the most pleasant thing, but you can't really judge the people that are starving on an island for killing their own chicken. They're doing it themselves. They're actually giving the chickens a better life than like the big agriculture.
Right.
So,
free roaming. You know.
Yeah, free grass fed. You know, it's not.
Are they getting fed?
I don't know, but I'm with you though. The one thing I thought, Austin, was Steven's like, every time I see these chickens, I get reminded of the chickens I killed. I'm like, well, there's only one way to not see the chickens anymore. You might up the body count, but you won't get any reminders. So, I guess that the reward may be with the fried chicken, but so at this immunity challenge, it's a new challenge. I don't, kind of self-explanatory, but what did you guys think about it?
I thought it was a good challenge. I'm always curious when they do like a male winner and a female winner. I'm always wondering, like, does it have anything to do with like height, weight variances, or do they just do it for a simple type of number? Because I think I would have been really great at this challenge. I think I've got really good lower body strength. I think my core strength is, above average. I think I could sit in that position. I think I'd be good at that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sure.
It's an interesting challenge because I think with these types of leg ones, they don't hurt as bad like each second that you're doing it, but there becomes a point where your legs just give out and it's like no warning. I mean, I feel like it's kind of similar. My season, I did one where like your legs are kind of like up like this, and you're just like holding your leg up like this for as long as you can. And I was like, oh, this isn't too bad. I can do this. Just stay focused. But at some point, your legs just give out, no matter what you want to do, no matter how hard you want it. It just gives out. So I feel like it's one of those challenges where it's just like your body has its limit, and it won't let you go past it.
Brice, we had an interesting discussion last night at our little watch party because, like you, I was like, I think I could be okay at this. I've been doing some core workouts lately. I'm doing my wall sits, doing some abs.
What's a wall sit?
It's like
Roman chairs.
It's like where you sit, you lean against the wall, and you keep your legs like in a 90-degree angle, and you like sit against the wall with nothing under you.
And that works your core.
It's like a chair.
It's like core, legs. It's a good because I'll do it I'll just go on my phone and do it for like 5 minutes, and then you kind of distract yourself, or you listen to some space facts. But I think I could be good at this. But then we were watching it, and I was like, was everybody like were people sitting at different distances based on height? But I think they were all kind of the same distance, and that to me was where I was like, well, Savannah looked like her legs were in a pretty nice position of being pretty straight, which I think is kind of ideal. Because for me, I'm like, if my legs had to be like bent like this, that's going to be a lot harder to do. So that was the one thing that kind of stood out to me in terms of like, what's like the leg situation. Because I think you would want your legs to be generally like more straight. Because if it's super bent, you're like getting a weird angle on it.
I would think that they adjusted it. I mean, we had some challenges where they took like our wingspan so that they can adjust those. I feel like this is one of those challenges that they would measure it. But I agree. It did look like Savannah's leg position was more outstretched than like Sophie's when it came down to it at the end. And I don't know, maybe it's like she had better technique and was able to like, sit in a weird angle, adjust her spine to like get one leg stretched out. I'm not sure, but yeah, no.
It didn't really look like they were different distances though. Like it looked like they all kind of were in the same width, and then they just had to like make it like, yeah, like look, I don't like if you look at like I guess because you look at like the little beam in the back, that's where like their butt presses against. It all kind of looks the same, right? I don't know.
But
and you see like Jawan's legs. I mean, not that Jawan's super duper tall, but like, I mean, you look at like the guys who are all a little bit taller, like their legs are bent a little bit more. And then you look at like some of the shorter women, like on the far end, their legs are a little bit straighter. So I don't know. I guess most of them, other than Savannah, who's probably the shortest, look to be sort of the same angle.
Yeah, or
I think I saw a tweet where they said for height. I think I saw something like today where they said they adjusted for height.
That they did? Interesting.
I feel like it looks like almost like how they're sitting. Like some people are sitting straight up on their back and their legs have a little more room. They're a little straighter. And then you got people like Jawan looks like he's kind of scrunched up forward, like closer to it. I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, I don't know. But I think it was a pretty fun challenge. As far as endurance challenges go, this was something different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I also like when you see these type of challenges, it makes me think, is this one, like you said before, Austin, you get to a point where your legs just give out? Or is this one that it could be mind over matter, where you really could just zone out somewhere and just really lock in? And at one point in time, they were unable to hold on to the bottom, right? Then it was just like straight core. That's where I was like, okay, I might be good at it, but I might have to tap out at that point.
And then Steven, once again, ripping out his facts. Honestly, his fact blew my mind that all the planets can fit next to each other between the Earth and the Moon. That was, because I remember reading another time, if you fold a piece of paper, 42 times, it'll hit the moon. So all the planets next to each other is not as long as a piece of paper folded 42 times, which is crazy.
Now, wait a minute. You fold a paper. I don't know.
I don't know about that fact.
Yeah, I don't know.
No. I looked it up again before this. You fold a piece of paper 42 times, and it will hit the moon. I mean, it's 2 raised to the 42nd.
I think it must be some sort of paper that's able to be folded that many times.
Well, that's the thing. It's there's no way you can fold something 42 times, so it'll never actually get there. But if you could theoretically,
I'm making up those facts, to be honest.
Right, but if you if you theoretically could do it, it could do it, but you can't do it. So then don't that equate as it's not real?
I mean,
it's probably with some dimension paper where that, then the height starts to scale up to a exponential amount.
Yeah, it's not like you can stack all the planets next to each other either, man.
But you know how big they are. Brice, hold that paper up again.
How many folds did you get?
Tell me that's going to the moon.
I'm at 6.
No, you're at 6?
Yes.
It looks like 2.
No, wait.
All right, 7. Dude, you only have 35 more.
Okay. But
one more fold, it's going to grow 100 feet.
How is this getting to the moon now? It's getting smaller.
Well, it's getting thicker, though.
Austin. Okay.
All right, you'll have to take my word, or look it up. We can have a bet on this.
Any kangaroo facts? That was a little tribal. It was you want a kangaroo metaphor or a space metaphor?
Who was gonna pick space at that point when he already gave 50 space ones?
And then he's like, never mind. I don't even have a kangaroo one. I just have a space one.
Yeah, that didn't work out too well.
Yeah, it's all these metaphors at tribal, man. These analogies.
Are you interested in a kangaroo fact?
Sure.
Yes.
Or a kangaroo metaphor. Do you have a kangaroo metaphor?
I don't know about a kangaroo metaphor, but I do know that kangaroos have been known to drown dogs.
They are violent.
I mean, I saw that one video where
you saw the video of the guy and
well, yeah, it was like choking a dog, and some guy came and punched the kangaroo. Wow. That was epic.
Now,
can I give a kangaroo metaphor?
Guru.
Jawan and Sage are looking at Sophie B like she is a kangaroo and cute and fluffy, but what they don't know is that she'll drown their dogs in this game if that means winning the $1 million. So
you want to know another kangaroo fact or another kangaroo metaphor?
Yeah. Are you jumping in someone's pouch?
If I fold a paper 32 more times and the trajectory of my love life continues to go the way that it's going, some of them kangaroos, have you seen some of them jack kangaroos?
No.
I'm about to see what's up.
I don't know if that was a metaphor.
Okay.
That
was a pitch.
Freaky.
Oh.
Wow. That's crazy.
This is my pet kangaroo Jack, y'all.
Promise he's my pet.
Okay. So Savannah wins.
Savannah and Steven, right?
And Steven wins. But also, I don't care what none of y'all been saying. Sophie almost won this again. we got to put some respect on Sophie's name. So Sophie really is out here doing the dang thing. And clearly she was brought back from the dead. And so she's like, she has something to prove. And so she really is out here doing her thing. And with Steven winning, I would love to know your guys' thought on Steven, because like we haven't talked about him much. We know he's kind of sort of been a swing vote. We know he's kind of not on the island on his own, but he's kind of open to work with anyone. In my opinion, you would think that if the majority was the majority, right? Like, I would believe a name like Steven should have been floating around today, right? Like, if you're trying to snuff out Rizzo's pouch, right? Like, Steven, I was trying to get a kangaroo metaphor. I'll survive a snuff pouch. But, like, I just was so shocked that, like, why aren't we floating Steven's name? And so it just also makes me think, with him winning this immunity, what's Steven's trajectory, do you guys think? Like, I think Steven's in a great position.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think Steven's go ahead, Austin.
Oh, I was gonna say, I feel like with Alex gone, I think Steven becomes way more exposed, because I think they're both players who excel like with like socially schmoozing with other people. And maybe Alex was a little bit louder with that, a little bit more schmoozy than Steven. But with Alex gone, I think people might catch on to Steven because I do think he seems to be like having a good relationship with almost everybody. But at a certain point, just like it did with Alex, that turns into a liability and something to turn heads towards him.
Yeah, I'm going to throw out a bold prediction. I think Steven's the next one out. And that's only because, and I think Steven's been doing a lot of things right, where he has good relationships with a lot of people. And I don't think he's been the target because, you know, that Savannah Rizzo contingency knows that Jawan and Sage like Steven. So if they target Steven, they're not going to get Jawan and Sage to flip. But they've successfully whittled down Steven's numbers through going for some of his allies. And now that I think this Savannah, Rizzo, Sophie, and Sophie group is going to have their way with the next vote, having 4 of the remaining 8. And then you look at that, the rest of that group, I don't think Sage and Jawan are going to be their targets right away. And then you look at the remaining 2 Hina left on the other side of things, Christina and Steven. Steven's shown he can be a competitor in these challenges. He's got pretty good relationships with everybody. Like you said, Brice, he's been a good player. And so I think that's why he would be their target at the next vote. So it's tough because it's not really Steven's fault that any of these things haven't gone his way. Like, he's been doing the right things, but it's just been other people kind of shifting to the other side. That's kind of left him in a bad spot.
Something that the Riz God did that I thought was great, which seems obvious, but watching back the episode, I thought it was like really masterful. I really like Alex. I think Alex was doing a great job. And Alex, damn near my winner pick. So it like sucked that he went home. And I think that there's a point in time where like you can play the fence, but at some point in time, you do have to like draw your line in the sand. And I think with Rizzo realizing where Alex was and when he started kind of like spreading those facts about Alex, and I think, you know, he's telling Jawan, and Jawan's like, what? When did he say that? How could that be? Right? And it's like, well, because he didn't say it, Jawan. But I liked how when we got Jawan's confessional, Jawan's like, Alex is doing too much. Like, he's blowing up the spot.
Jawan kind of clocked it, though.
Say that again?
Jawan kind of clocked Rizzo on that, though.
Right. But what I'm saying is how I thought like the trickle effect of that was, I thought so too, because Jawan was like, that doesn't even make sense. Why would he say that? But then towards the end of the episode, we see Jawan talking to Alex like, Rizzo's throwing your name out. Like, you know, I don't know which way I'm going to go. And in Jawan's confessional, we see Jawan being like, Alex is doing a lot. He's being too flashy. And then once Alex knows that Rizzo is actually writing his name down, Alex goes into full panic mode, and, you know, he's fighting back at a Rizzo. And I think that kind of almost further proves Rizzo's point as to why it should be Alex, which I think it looks like common sense, but looking back at it, I'm like, that's a really good move on a Rizzo to kind of like drip that information, even if it's unbelievable. And then because Alex is just so caught off guard, the only defense mechanism you have is to just buck back, and you bucking back sometimes like that makes people be like, oh, he might gotta go, which sucks. But I don't know. Is that a strategic move?
I think Rizzo took a narrative that people were already sort of seeing, that Alex was a little all over the place playing the middle, and just gave it a stir. And it's like, well, even if Alex defends himself, people are already sort of suspicious about him. So it's like, exactly like you said, if Alex fights back, it's going to look more like, oh, well, Alex is scrambling, so maybe we do just get him out. So thought it was good from Rizzo, because you got to know the time and the place to just kind of start throwing out blatant lies, because sometimes they'll come back and bite you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I got another question for y'all. Everybody keeps saying the Riz God is playing from the bottom. He playing from the bottom. Again, I was third out on my season, so I don't know a lot. But in my mind, are you playing from the bottom if you don't play your idol in 3 tribal councils? That don't feel like you playing from the bottom.
Well, I don't think Rizzo thinks he really is playing from the bottom, but that's absolutely what you have to tell everybody. Like, you want people to think that you are on the bottom, and to think that you think you're on the bottom, because it makes you way less threatening. And like, you know, I think Sophie, Yellow Sophie said it in Tribal. It's like, you know, sometimes like what the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. And it's like, okay, Alex, I could see him being a more intimidating, scary threat out there on the island versus a Rizzo with an idol, because Rizzo's always going around saying, I'm on the bottom. I don't have allies. I'm, you know, it's so easy to knock me out. And then like, if you vote him out or get him to play his idol, maybe someone like Alex would find the idol and become even more dangerous. So I don't know. I think it's good to tell people that you're on the bottom and to like say it outwardly. But in his confessionals, you know, like I said, he's always hyping himself up. I don't think he thinks that, you know, he doesn't feel sorry for himself.
Yeah.
Not me believing in confessionals.
But I will say, I do think another sort of flaw, I do think, I don't think it's like a glaring mistake like some people are making it out to be, but I do think when you know, like I could sort of see why they would want like Savannah and Sage and Jawan will want Rizzo in the game to some extent, but it's also like once you know where his vote is, like I feel like you could be pretty confident that he is going to vote for Alex, because he's been pushing this narrative for a couple of days. He's been the one stirring the pot. That's the time to just put your vote on Rizzo, because you know, even if he plays the idol, you kind of know what's going to happen. I would understand when it's more dangerous if you don't know where his vote's going to go. You could be the collateral. It could hit back on you. But I do think this is a moment where, like, I can understand, like, A to B, like, do they want Rizzo or do they want Alex in the game? I can see why they want Rizzo. But at the same time, letting him just cruise through with an idol is a little bit dangerous.
That is where my gripe with a Sage and a Jawan is, where it's like, if this is what Rizzo is saying that he's going to do, and he wants you on board, would one not believe that clearly in some way, shape, or form, it has to be beneficial to his game? And so if you are Sage and Jawan, it's like, do I go with this and benefit his game? Or do I say, hey, Alex, he's coming for you. We want to save you. And now you retain the numbers with an Alex. That's where I kind of feel like my frustration with us. I'm not mad that I am sad that Alex is going, but my frustration with a Sage and a Jawan is like, y'all not steering the boat. And if you're not steering the boat, somebody else is steering the boat in the back with a kangaroo, and soon that kangaroo is going to jump out and drown somebody's dog.
100%. And it only gets harder as the numbers go down. It's more and more likely that you're the dog that's going to get drowned. And so it's like, take your time now where you know where Rizzo's vote is going and take the shot, I feel like. And again, I can see them wanting to keep Rizzo around somewhat, but if you just let him keep cruising on by, then it's tough. I don't know. Like when it's like at this rate, when are they gonna make the move?
And
And I feel like there's a general like stigma around like, oh, he might play his idol. Who knows what could happen? But and that's this season and also in general, if you're worried if someone's going to play an idol, you don't know where their vote's going to go. But if he's confidently telling everybody we're voting for Alex, then you do know what's going to happen. If he plays his idol, then Alex is going to go home. That's the time to do it.
And we see Christina and them come up with a plan to target a Sophie B, right? Because they real like it's not just a Rizzo. Rizzo is a package deal. Rizzo is like me and Austin. You think of Austin, you think of Brice. You think of Brice, you think of Austin. They're a package deal.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like with a Sophie B, that's like you think of Amanda, you think of Austin, you think of Brice, right? Like we are Three's company. Like that's all in one for all. And so we see that they're targeting a Sophie B, but the plan doesn't really come to play. And again, I'm just thinking like, why ain't y'all throwing Steven's name out? Like, I don't know. It just feels like, say that.
He's
no, okay.
Yeah. But
the kangaroo got me.
I'm with you.
But like,
Wendell, your service cleared up a little bit. What are your thoughts on all of this? I feel like we can get you right now.
Did you watch the episode?
Well, yes, I watched it in 2 parts. So I watched half of when I got home to my hotel. I watched the end half yesterday, and I watched the beginning half today. All right, ask the question.
I guess
answered.
I guess if you've heard what we've just been talking about, with Sage and Juwan being in the middle, and they're looking at like this option of we could go for Rizzo and he has his idol, and maybe we can flush it, or do we just go and with maybe the safer route and take out Alex? What would your considerations be in their shoes, and what do you think is the ideal move for them as they're sort of the swing vote?
I think you don't play it safe, and I think you try to take the shot at Rizzo.
And do you think you try to get him to play his idol and keep him in and just flush it, or do you let it ricochet on Alex still? I'm sorry, or do you try to blindside him with the idol?
I would try to blindside him with the idol.
Yeah, I almost think it's like you go with his plan, be like, yeah, we're all gonna go for Alex, and then you get your side crew and then dump it all on Rizzo instead of trying to do this crazy split.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like maybe people are not as scared of a Rizzo with an idol as they are with an idol out there for someone else to grab, and then all of a sudden no one knows who has the idol. You know that Rizzo has it. And, I could see people being like, oh, Rizzo's not that threatening. He's on the bottom. He only has one other ally. Like we can get rid of him any day of the week. So, someone like Alex, who's making friends with every single person on the cast, who has allies, with every single person, is a lot more dangerous when you don't know all the facts, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think from their perspective and what they know, that's not an unreasonable conclusion. And I think you make a good point too. And they brought this up during. What's up?
Sorry, am I? I was just wondering if this is like a Xander situation where it's like we know where he is and we're not scared of him.
Kinda, and it can be sometimes a self-fulfilling prophecy like that, where it's almost like you do such a good job of holding onto the idol that people maybe subconsciously are like, well, we can't give him credit for that, so we'll just act like we don't want to target him to begin with. But you make a good point, Austin. They brought this up during Tribal, and it's not something that's usually talked about like this, but it's like there is some advantage of just knowing who has the idol. Mm-hmm. So Rizzo could almost be the volunteer and be like, hey, guys, I'm never going to play this, so if you don't vote for me, you'll know where the idol is and no one else is going to have it.
Exactly.
So there's a weird benefit to that.
How does, in your opinion, how does that play with the jury? Is that a respectable game though? Because I feel like you've been super like holding that idol, like, well, I got it. You know where it's at. You've been very critical in past seasons of people playing like that, Jack.
Well, I don't think critical in that way. I think the thing is, if you're not a target naturally and you just have an idol, to me, it doesn't matter that much. But if you are in a situation, and I think Xander is a good example of this, where you used it really strategically, or Rizzo is using it strategically to like bluff and drive the vote, and he's able to hold onto it till the last moment and, you know, control the final 5 vote or whatever it may be, then that deserves a lot of credit in my book. But I think to my point is like, if I'm someone who's still in the game with him, maybe I just start to write that off, because if I don't want to address the fact that he has an idol and have to deal with that, it can be very easy to create a narrative of like, oh, we were never going to vote for him anyways. So then you get to the final tribal and you could just be like, well, we weren't going to vote for you. Like, you're kind of discrediting his game so that if you're against him, you kind of create the whole narrative of like, well, it didn't matter that you had the idol, even though it obviously does, because he was a target. But eventually I think it's easy, like for people in their minds, it's easier to just write that off rather than be like, we need to attack Rizzo and get rid of the idol.
We see this episode, Savannah have a very like touching moment with Sophie B, where she tells Sophie B she's like a reporter, and that like we see this moment where she's like, I wouldn't even tell Rizzo this, right?
Was that touching?
I mean, but it not touching, but it's like Savannah the shark is
Being vulnerable.
she's being vulnerable, right? She's sharing the minnow fish with other sharks, right? Like where she's like, I wouldn't even tell Rizzo this. Is there a world where Savannah and Sophie plot to get a Rizzo out? Like, do we see this trio ever cannibalizing on each other? Because I felt like that was pretty telling. Like, what purpose in my mind? I'm asking, like, why did the editors show us this, and why didn't they show us showing Rizzo with Jawan and saying, hey, I'm gonna get this so you can get the food, right? Like, I felt like that didn't play much into the episode.
I think they showed it because, well, to answer your first question, if I'm Savannah, I think I'm playing a stronger game than Rizzo. So why would I need to target him?
But
He's
then
my
there'll
ally.
be
He
a
has
third
an idol.
person. You might be split. I'd be worried that I'd be sharing votes with Rizzo if I was there with them at Savannah, because they're like doing all these moves together almost.
I can see
What
them
is the
turning
rule?
at like a 4 or a 5.
Mm,
Right
But
now, I
those
think they know they need each other right now, and that they're stronger together than they are separate. But I think at a 5 or a 4, once they make whatever moves that they're going to make with the knowledge is power, with the idol, it's like, okay, well, I don't want to sit next to you. We might split votes, whatever it may be. And I think that's a reason. To me, you're still a good ally. If we get to 4 together and it's like you got to make a business decision, it is what it is.
Did you guys see that photo that's like circulating on Twitter where it's like next week's tribal, where you see Nate, MC, and
Alex,
and they're making that face and they're like, oh, what could this be? And somebody was like, well, it could be the knowledge is power. And I feel like there could be a world where Sophie B snatches Christina's knowledge is power, because we know Sage. Who told Sage? Was it Sophie or was it Steve? Was it Steven?
Yes.
Yep.
Steven told Sage that, and that didn't really have anything really to do, but we see with Sage and Jawan voting with Alex going home, like I could see there being a world where this information gets shared, and I could see a Sophie B snatching that idol. And in my opinion, that's a game-changing move. Because correct me if I'm wrong, if I snatch your idol, I don't have to use it. I could just take it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, can you imagine? Then a Sophie has an idol, Riz has an idol, Savannah has an idol. Savannah don't have an idol, but
Extra
Savannah
vote.
has
Extra
right,
vote.
an extra vote.
Yeah.
And like Alex,
I think that's what we're setting up for, Brice. I think that's what we're setting up for.
You're almost like set to the final 5 at that point.
Right. And like you said a couple of minutes ago, Austin, you're saying like, oh, we can get a Rizzo any day. Anytime you say that about somebody, that any day don't ever come. You should have got him when Sage said get him. Now somebody's dog is dead because a kangaroo is choking him.
True. And I feel like, but that's the thing. I keep harping on it, but it's like, we know Savannah and Rizzo are going to make some waves. So it's kind of, I feel like your prediction's very accurate, Brice.
And
We need
That'll
to
be
get Sophie B to use it against one of them.
And that's what I was wondering, right? Because I almost thought if Sophie B were to jump ship at this point, having her knowledge is power. But hear me out. Just hear me out. Hold
No,
your
I'm
kangaroo.
hearing you out. I'm hearing you
Uh,
out.
With Sophie B having that knowledge is power, we know Sophie B was connected to a Alex. Alex is connected to a Christina. I felt like if Sophie B wanted to make one hell of a resume, it would have been she could have potentially jumped ship at this point and maybe helped take out a Rizzo.
Well, that's why I was shaking my head. I just think it's too early for her to do that.
Okay.
I think she blows up her spot, but I think at like a 5 or a 6, if she does that against a Rizzo, that's like a game-winning move right there.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're watching him like flex his idol, flex it. You keep showing it off, I'm gonna take that thing from you.
And I'll play well with the jury too of Rizzo's been cocky with the idol. You do that. Oh, I'll take that.
Give me that. Pause.
Yeah, I mean, like, I made him know like that he's safe and that he never needs to play it so that I could take it from him later. That's a whole speech.
Keep on feeding them information and then get them.
We seen how MC not sharing that she had an idol kind of backfire on her. Do we feel like at any point if Sophie win and how Sophie does reveal this knowledge is a power, do we feel like that could potentially backfire on her? Or do you think they would just be so happy that they have this in the arsenal?
I think it depends a little bit how she goes about it, but I feel like she'd go about it the smart way of, to me, it's not bad to reveal this or reveal an idol when the time is right. And I think the way that you do that is, say they're getting ready for tribal and she knows she's got to use it. You grab your people and be like, hey, I found this yesterday. Like, let's put this to good use. Don't be like, oh, I found this 5 days ago and I didn't tell you guys. Because then I think that could give you some problems. But if you just be like, oh, I just found this and I want to use it for us, I think your people are going to be more excited than they are going to be like skeptical of when you found it.
Now, silly question, because I always ask this with the shot in the dark. Given Alex's position going into tribal, I'm gonna fold this paper up 13 times, Austin. Give me the statistics. Should he have folded his shot in the dark, or do you feel like it's better for him to have a vote?
To be honest, I don't even remember that. Like, did he feel this was a blind side, right? Like a full blind side.
I don't think so, because Jawan told him, and that's when he kind of started. That's when he started folding his paper.
I would just say they were going for a split vote, and so Alex's vote would have been crucial for that to happen. So I think he has to vote if that's the plan. You know what I mean?
But given that we're going for a split vote, but now in the 9th hour, you hear your name, Jack.
But say that I have a group and we're splitting the vote on you and Wendell, and I hear that you guys are in a group of, say it's you, Wendell, and Austin, and I'm in a group of 6, and we're splitting our 6 votes supposedly on you and Wendell. If I play my shot in the dark and I don't vote, then the split's no good, and I could go home if an idol gets played. So and if you're the one to play your shot in the dark and just blow up the whole split, I feel like that's almost like a game. Even if you stay in, I think that's like a game, like bad game move for you down the line.
Is it a bad game move? But hear me out. When the person that you splitting the vote with just came back last night and y'all all told her she was dead, should I be trusting her?
Well, then the question is, you shouldn't be splitting the vote.
Yeah.
But if you ultimately lock into this is the plan, and if you have questions about that, then you should be splitting the vote. But if the plan is to split and you're the one who flakes because you're like, oh, but I gotta save myself. I mean, personally, if I was in that majority that was doing the split, and then someone did that, I'd be like, to me, that's kind of like I lose a lot of respect for you because you don't. It's not like a flipping thing. It's like, oh, you just bailed because you were scared, and it blows up our whole plan.
Do you hear what I'm saying, though, Austin? where it's like, yeah, we're in it, but I don't really know where Sage is at. Sophie, we thought like I feel like, yeah, that's what everybody is saying, but at what point in time do you say forget everybody? I gotta play my shot in the dark because
Well, you say that when if you to me, and I'm sorry, I know you're asking Austin. To me, if that's your read on the situation, then you get your people together 4 hours before tribal and be like, we can't split this vote.
but
Mhm.
what if you
And even
what if
still,
you don't have that say? Or not, like what if I'm trying to say like
I mean, I think you try to express it in like if that's really your read, you try and even still, it's just tough because you say Alex knew where all the votes were gonna go. I mean, obviously, maybe he doesn't know he's the target in this instance. Even if he plays a shot in the dark, it's like to his allies that did think they were gonna split together, he still looks kind of. It's like it's scared gameplay. He looks kind of weak. Obviously, it might work out every now and again and save him, but even still, it's like the only people he trusts would then be like, oh, you bailed on our plan and you didn't want to say anything and like you kind of put us at risk. Like I don't know like that. And to me, it's just whether it's his allies or the other people. If I'm on the jury and I see a move like that, I'm just gonna be like, you kind of just flaked on your move. Like you're not playing this game with the cojones that it takes.
I gotta agree with Jack here. I think the best move at that point is you have to avoid the split, try being like all on someone else, and then you have the wiggle room to maybe play a shot in the dark. Or if you're at tribal and you're like, I need to play this shot in the dark, like I feel really bad, get someone else who is in your voting block, just be like, please just switch it. I'm playing my shot in the dark. Get one person to replace you on someone else and then play it.
Yeah, you could do like a minority split, I guess. Like if you maybe that's the other thing is if Alex knows he's the target, and he's like, we don't have the numbers, we don't have an idol, I'm gonna play my shot in the dark, and you know that the other side has an idol, maybe you kind of a la David versus Goliath. I'm just thinking if I'm Steven, Alex, and Christina, and Alex is like, I'm gonna play my shot in the dark, like we don't have the numbers, then I think you have Steven and Christina split their vote on Sophie and Rizzo. Because if my shot in the dark hits and there's 6 votes on me, and then my shot in the dark, if it says safe, Rizzo's probably going to play his idol, then you want to split the vote, like a minority split. So 1 vote lands on Sophie. Because if Rizzo plays his idol and it negates all the votes, then the revote, it's going to be like a Steven or or it's not going to be Steven. It's going to be because he's safe. It's going to be Christina. But that's like that's with a lot of different factors at play.
That is almost impossible to organize in a live tribal, but yeah, ideally.
You have to know you're playing the shot in the dark beforehand and be like, this is literally our shot in the dark. that A, it works, and that B, like our contingency plan works.
okay.
But it's possible.
Listen, I'm an astute student. I'm trying to learn from the greats. Okay. I figured if my back's up against the wall, play my shot in the dark, but I understand what you're saying. But nevertheless, this season does look like it's heating up. I feel like the best episode, I mean, it's only a couple left, but I feel like the best episodes are ahead of us.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
And like what Jack's saying, it's way more ambiguous, like a Rizzo, a Savannah, they could go out next episode and like make sense why they're on 50, like, so it really opens up. And I think these players are playing really, really fluid. I mean, like, I don't think the tribal lines are even a thing, like, or close to being a thing, and they haven't been, it just makes the rest of the game that much more exciting.
I agree, and which is why I love these swaps and how they've been doing the swaps. I think that it makes for way more exciting Survivor, just like it makes for exciting Survivor news, which is why we're so happy to have Austin, Wendeezy, and Jack here covering Survivor news with us. We're excited to see what happens next week. Austin, thank you so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure to see you. Jackery, Kangaroo, what's up? We thank everyone for listening. This has been your Survivor news covering Survivor season 49, episode 9. We'll catch you next week for episode 10. Watch your back because the Kangaroos are out. We'll see you soon. Bye.
the Purple Pants Podcast. You better listen in public, might make your stomach hurt. Ooh. It's the Purple Pants Podcast. You're trying to unwind, you better get that box wine. It's the Purple Pants Podcast. You're trying to get your snack, you better hurry right back though. It's the Purple Pants. It's the Purple Pants.